Hello, good evening all. Today we will be discussing OPSC Mains micro syllabus detailing. So, the Odisha part, GS paper 1, paper 2, paper 3, paper 4. So, whatever the Odisha part is there, I will be discussing that. I will be going through the micro syllabus detailing. So, if you consider paper 1, GS paper 1 or paper 1 of the mains, that is essay paper, which comprises or previously if you see 2020 2019 in those years it was purely based on like science and technology से एक question आता था and environment से एक question disaster management से एक question आता था. Now it has changed its pattern. लास्ट ईयर का क्वेश्चन अगर देखा जाएगा तो फिलोसॉफिकल क्वेश्चन से ज्यादा है. सो ऑलमोस्ट ऑल क्वेश्चन बिलोंग्स टू फिलोसॉफिकल क्वेश्चन. सो इट इज जस्ट लाइक कि यूपीएससी वाला इस ऐसे पेपर ही यहाँ पे काम आ रहा है. सो यू कैन फॉलो दैट पार्ट. और यूपीएससी का ऐसे वाला जो जिस तरह से पैटर्न फॉलो करते हैं सो यू कैन फॉलो दैट वन. सो आई थिंक इट इज प्रीटी क्लियर कि अभी उस तरह से हम लोग उड़ीसा वाला पार्ट को ऐसे में उतना ज्यादा इंक्लूड नहीं कर सकते. Now let us go to paper 2, which is GS paper 1. GS paper 1. As you see, Indian heritage and culture, Odisha heritage and culture, history and geography of world and society. So here in this particular syllabus, in this particular paper, it comprises of 250 marks. And if you closely observe this paper, now first one is heritage and culture and Indian culture covering the salient aspect. Now try to understand what is the motive of OPSC and how they are going to ask you the question in the mains exam. So first point, it is saying ki Indian culture covering the salient aspect of art forms, literature, architecture of ancient to modern India. That means it is covering the entire art and culture of India, starting from ancient to modern part. That means they are saying ki yes, we will be covering the entire India. Now next part is temple architecture of Odisha. Now let us try to analyze things. Temple architecture of Odisha means they are focusing over Odisha architecture part or temple architecture part. That means in case of India, you have Nagara style, you have Dravidian style, you have Vesara style. So where Odisha stands, where Odisha art and culture start, where Odisha that means temple architecture stands, that need to be understood. Now it is a comparative study. Now the thing is that ki what we predict in this examination, particular OPSC examination, what you are going to face, you will be getting the comparative questions from Odisha as well as India. Like compare temple architecture of Odisha with respect to Indian architecture, Indian temple architecture. Justify the salient features of Indian architecture. Like that way you will be getting the question. So if you see, this entire part is basically trying to cover Odisha part with respect to India, like temple architecture of Odisha, socio-cultural development of Odisha, how socio-cultural development, Bhakti movement in Odisha, and its impact of that means how Bhakti culture started in Odisha part. Okay, so here you need to compare how Indian Bhakti movement and Sufi movement basically established and how Odisha is basically that means how Odisha experienced or how Odisha has experienced the Bhakti movement. So that thing need to be compared. So evolution and growth of Odia language, literature, development of Odia literature. That means, as you know, the sixth classical language is Odisha. How Odisha art and culture developed, that thing need to be properly. That means you have to go through that. Regional tradition of Odisha festival, Rath Yatra. That now, if Rath Yatra is coming into picture, then contribution of Marathas to popularize Rath Yatra, that is also coming into picture. If Rath Yatra is coming into picture, that means Jagannath cult is basically coming into picture. अगर ऐसा है, then recently Mo Odisha, Nua Odisha scheme which has been launched by Naveen Patnaik ji. So and 40 plus Mo Odisha, Navan Odisha, that is giving priority to Jagannath culture. That means to promote and preserve the Jagannath culture in Odisha. Now that need to be understood. So while you are answering this type of questions, you need to focus over the recent part. What are the contribution of the government of Odisha or new schemes that has been launched, that need to be coupled up with your answer writings. That is the first part, heritage and culture. That means what I am trying to say, कि whenever we are going to study, going to cover the Odisha part, then it need to be followed up in case of history with respect to counterpart is Indian history or India. That means here whatever you are studying, you need to have a comparative knowledge with respect to India. Let us consider Bhakti movement, Odisha Bhakti movement with respect to Indian Bhakti movement. Correct? Like that way, if you go for history part, this is art and culture. Next one is the history part. If you see modern Indian history from about the middle to 18th century until the present significant event, personalities, issue. That means they are including everything. First statement is saying we are including entire part of a history, starting from modern history, modern Indian history from about middle and 18th century. That means modern history को cover कर रहे हैं हम लोग, and till now or present day तक everything will be included in that modern part ही included है यहाँ पे. Now अगर modern part है included, now the freedom struggle, now we need to understand freedom struggle. Its various stages, important contribution from the different part of the country. ये तो इंडिया में चला आया. Now when we are considering about Odisha part, Kalinga War, now any significant event need to be properly understood and properly prepared. Kalinga War, it is a major event for Odisha people or entire history you can consider. So if that happens, what is the post-war scenario after Kalinga War? Kalinga War के बाद क्या हुआ था? The dynasty of a history. Now whether that means after Kalinga War, does it have some influence over Odishan Empire or Odisha people, Odisha Empire? Now like that way, Mahameghavan Kharavela. So if you see rise of Kharavela after Ashokarna invasion to Odisha. So next we can consider the Bhaumakaras and Somabhasis, Gangas and Gajapatis. So here the administration as well as the contribution of those particular peoples or dynasties, that need to be accounted for our preparation, that means examination. The dynastic history, and then it is early resistance movement in Odisha, Pike rebellion. Now if you consider Pike rebellion, it has been nominated as the first people's resistance against the British. Then again it is revoked, and 1857 became the first that means stand against the British. Then if you see, there is another one rebellion by the Odisha people, like Ghumsar rebellion, Ganjam district. But thing is that here what they can ask, they are saying we will be comprising of all the stand of Odisha people against the British starting from Pike rebellion. So there will be chances of a comparative narration of Odisha against Britishes. Pike rebellion, Veer Surendra Sai and the revolt of 1857. Now important personality, whoever has contributed in that need to be studied. That means 1857, what is the stand of Odisha, and 1857 what happened in India. That comparison must be included in your studies, in your preparation. Now you are going to face the mains examination. So in that examination, just write down some skeletons by covering all these points. The next point is that freedom movements, creation of Odisha provinces. Odisha provinces, how it has been created and what are the important features with respect to the 1936 case hua, what are the act that has been needed to form the state, that need to be covered up. Next one is freedom movement and Praja Mandala movement in Odisha. As you have seen that Praja Mandala movement, that has asked in the prelims examination. So this one they are trying to compile the question as per the syllabus only. So we need to complete the syllabus first. So social basis and Odia nationalism, integrated princely state of Odisha, social reforms movement in Odisha. That means they are trying to cover up the things with respect to Indian perspective. 1857 revolt of Odisha with respect to India. So whenever you are going to study those type of topics, you need to have a comparative narration and comparative that means approach for your answer writing. So this is about paper GS paper 1 or normal paper 2. This is history part. Next we can go for the geography part. Geography of India with specific reference to Odisha. Now need to understood something. You have to understood something. Geography of India and geography of Odisha. Physical, economic, social, geography of India. Now they have included everything here. First part, they have included everything in physical, economic, social, geography of India. Now geography, that means Indian geography. Now next thing is that they have started. Now this is part of a physical geography that has been completed, I think. Next, Odisha's natural resources: water, forest, minerals. Water, forest and minerals. Odisha's physiography and riverine systems. Which rivers are important? How many rivers are, major rivers are there, and what is the importance of that river with respect to the surrounding regions, as well as if you see here it is not saying about, that means water as well as river system, then Chilika is coming into picture. You will be getting one question from Chilika, you will be getting one question from 1857 revolt and contribution of Odisha people. Like that way you need to make up your mind. These are some regions they will be hitting, they will be asking again and again. Now salient feature of Indian society diversity, India and Odisha. How the people, that means culture as well as geography, how it defined the people, the culture of Odisha. That need to be understood. So here in Odisha geography part, they are trying to ask about the resources, about the physiography, and then thing is that society and diversity, comparison between India and Odisha. That thing is very important. As you know that during the COVID period, Odisha, that many initiatives that has been taken, and it is glorified by many organizations. WHO also told, and Indian government also credited the government initiatives. So if you see how what is the importance and how these things basically evolve, what is the mindset of the people, everything need to be understood with respect to India perspective. Let us consider energy, water, forest, minerals. Now mineral, if you consider mineral, Odisha is having second largest mineral reserve in India. How much or how it is contributed to Indian GDP? What is the role and how Indian people are basically, or Odisha people are getting help from these mineral resources? So all these things need to be understood. So here we are trying to understand geography with respect to people of Odisha in case of Odisha geography. One question like what are the energy, what are the roadblocks in development of energy sector in Odisha? That type of question can be asked. So while we are studying something, we need to understand how much it is relevant for us, for people, like that way the question will be asked. So physiography is important. So if you see the previous slide, physiography is important, riverine system is important, how rivers are important for us, and obviously Mahanadi dispute between Chhattisgarh and Odisha, that is also coming into picture. Now water, Chilika is important, and forest, again forest is coming into our consideration. So when forest is coming, then Mo Jungle Jami, a scheme that need to be covered up. So like that way, what are the new initiatives that has been taken? Now Mo Jungle Jami is associated with the tribal people as well as forest lands. So that is how we need to understand, we need to write our answers for better outcomes in exams. Role of women, organized population associated with issues, poverty and their problems, that thing is common geography. Effect of globalization and Indian society as a whole and Odisha. Now here you need to understand how globalization is basically helping Indian society as a whole, and Odisha means it is a comparative study between India and Odisha. Comparative study. Okay, globalization, that means how industries are coming and what are the facility they are getting, how Odisha geography is suitable, or basically is felicitating, or is attracting for foreign direct investments, and what are the natural resources we are having, by which new industries that can be established. So globalization is important, as well as how our products like Rayagada soil, GI tag, geographical indicator, the how to globalize that. That means these all things need to be coupled up. So then distribution and growth of tribes, tribal population in Odisha, urbanization growth. As I told you, any that means any region, any questions if it has been framed, one part is tribal people, tribal के ऊपर आ सकता है question. Then it is basically women and child. You need to focus what is the status of women and child. ठीक है. Then about the development, किस तरह से development हो सकता है, and obviously the that means schedule caste, and about the equality and casteisms. So like that way, these things need to be focused while we are discussing something. Social empowerment, communication, regionalism, and secularism. So these are one part. This is paper 1 is completed. Now paper 1, if you see what we have discussed, history of India and history of Odisha need to be studied in a comparative way, and some of the portions will be segregated, separated, and those portions need to be followed up with respect to Odisha context as well as government perspective. What are the new initiative, new schemes that has been started? Physical geography, in geography case also same. You need to see the problems. Geography need to be studied with respect to the people. Geography is the study of earth as a home of man, so it is about the human being. So try to understand one thing, how a river is helping us, how Chilika is helping the socio-economic condition of the surrounding region, that will be asked in the examination. So like that we need to focus. So paper GS paper 1 is over. So this is how we are going to that means see the questions in your examination. Next in GS paper 2. GS paper 2. Now in GS paper 2 it is governance, constitution, polity, social justice. Viraj sir has taken. I think he has gone for this particular course pretty well. Now the thing is that what I need to focus here, salient features and representation of a People's Act, Odisha Right to Public Service Act, Odisha Lokayuta Act. So this is something that need to be followed up. So whenever again it is comparative in nature, when Lokayuta Act is passed in Odisha, how it has been working, what is the act, and how it is helping the people. These are something that need to be covered up. Panchayat Raj institutions, so Odisha and its neighbor relations. Odisha and its neighbor. That means now here this is something new to OPSC syllabus, which is not in UPSC syllabus. Odisha and its neighbor. That means Chhattisgarh is there. Okay, so Jharkhand is there. Andhra Pradesh is there. West Bengal is there. Now the question is that disputed states or border dispute between whom? Andhra Pradesh, Kotia dispute. Kotia dispute. Now that need to be followed up. If Kotia dispute is coming, now how this has been, this became an issue that need to be understood. So creation of state of Odisha is important. Creation of the state of Andhra Pradesh is important. Now next one is Chhattisgarh. I will be taking. I'll be having some videos over this Kotia issue. So then Chhattisgarh river Mahanadi dispute, water hedge manipulation. So here, whenever we are studying, we are going through the particular subject, we need to see how it is influencing us, means Odisha people, because you are going to be a part of the Odisha society, Odisha government. That is how we will be dealing. So here these are something that will be followed, and obviously I think this paper must have been covered by Viraj sir. So I will be just going through some of the portions which has been left over. Government, social justice. Let us go to social justice. Government policies and intervention of development in various sector issues arising out of their design and implementation, India and Odisha. Development process of, now see, this is Mission Shakti is coming, Mission Shakti. MSAP and women self-help groups. Now here if you see government policies and interventions for development in various sector and issues arising out of their design and implementation. Now here this is attracting the initiatives or the idea of representing some government schemes, how government is focusing over the development of various sectors like women as well as self-help groups in Odisha. Like that way we need to focus. Next one is welfare schemes and vulnerable section of population by the state, performance of the schemes, mechanism, laws, institutions, bodies constituted for the protection and betterment of this vulnerable section, India and Odisha. I told you about Mo Jungle Jami principle. As well as if you see this social structure things, now this is purely based on the schemes section and how it is helping to the people. As you see, government policies, Mo Jungle Jami, Jaga mission, Vasundhara mission, okay, these need to be understood, they need to be followed up. And Mo Navin Mo Odisha Navin Odisha scheme, 5T incorporation. These things need to be understood how it is going to help people and who are those peoples. Okay, so here in this social issues, you need to cover the current aspects as it is. This is GS paper 2. So you need to go for the current aspects and how they are relevant for this present time and how it is been incorporated by the government, that need to be followed up. So this section must have a reference from the current affairs. So these sections you have to follow some of the new schemes like, as I told you, Jaga mission and etc. So paper 3 is a dynamic one. You need to combine some current affair facts with respect to the static, and the thing is that you need to cover more and more issues related to Odisha to cover up all these things. And if you observe the syllabus, they are trying to ask, we will be preparing a question as we have developed the syllabus. The question might be India oriented, or it is about the India, or it is about to Odisha, or a comparative between two, India, Odisha, or comparing between two. Like that way the questions will be prepared. Next one is a paper 3 of GS paper 3 of OPSC Civil Service Mains examination. It covers technology, economic development, biodiversity, environment, security and disaster management. So this is first one is science and technology. So this is something related to your lesson. It is a common phenomenon, generalistic idea will be sufficient for this, for answering this particular part. Next one is economic development. If you see in economic development, Indian economy, issues related to planning, mobilization, resources, etc., they have again incorporated the entire syllabus ki hum log ek line denge aur sab mein chala jayega pura. Then government budgeting India and Odisha, that means they are covering India as well as Odisha. Land reforms in India and Odisha, you know it very well in urban areas of Bhubaneswar, Jaga mission reincorporated many bastis that has been replaced with a habitation program. So that part need to be understood. So here government budgeting and land reform kaise ho raha hai, Jaga mission, Vasundhara mission, this needs to be incorporated. Effect of liberalization of economic changing. So here this is something generalization. Infrastructure, energy, post, roads, airways, railways, country and Odisha. That means development. Odisha architectural development like energy, post, roads, everything. Anywhere if there is something, say something is changing, then it need to be covered through the current affairs as well as static. Industrialization in Odisha, issues and prospects. Now if you see industrial belt, in Odisha we are having industrial belt, we are having coal reserve, we are having industrial belt, Loudclaw steel plant is there, Angul is there, Jajpur is there. Now they will be asking, that means they are directly saying that we will be asking about the development, energy sector, post, roads, airports, etc., etc. We will be asking about the industrialization in Odisha, issues and prospects. It will be coupled with geography, like justify the location of Rourkela steel plant, justify the location of the industrial belt of Rourkela, Angul and Jajpur region. Like that way they will be asked the questions. So this has already been asked, so that, like that way question will be asked here, you need to follow. Agriculture part. In agriculture part, economic animal rearing and Odisha double farming income, and what is, you know that Kalia scheme was launched in the previous election, during election time, Kalia scheme, and how agricultural development, agricultural initiatives that has been taken, and how double farming income, doubling of a farmer's income that is being done. Now if you see Odisha millet mission, that is in news. 2023 was considered as the international millet year, and conference was done in Bhubaneswar. And if you see, Odisha millet mission has the highlight, or Naveen Patnaik gave the that means that many schemes, many initiatives for the development of millets in Odisha, and Odisha Makka mission is there. Odisha Makka mission is there. Like that way, there are different type of schemes that is associated with this agriculture part. Now Odisha and agriculture, how it is transforming, what is the dependency of Odisha people, food security, food processing and related industry in Odisha, scope and significance, location, upstream, downstream requirement, supply chain management. Now here, how the people of Odisha dependent on agriculture as well as farming, livestock, everything need to be understood. As I told you, it is related to like Chilika, socio-economic condition, how it is helping them for the socio-economic development, how Mahanadi is helping the socio-economic development of the surrounding regions, how minerals are helping. Now agriculture part, which type of agriculture is preferable for which type of regions. Okay, so like that way you need to cover up. So most of the part of these regions, major cropping patterns. So this has been followed up by one sir, by geography sir. It has already been followed up, and then it is the biodiversity and environment, disaster and disaster management in the country. If you talk about this is ODRAF, the importance of the ODRAF, history of creation, because this is the first disaster management organization wing of a state that has ever been formed in India. So you need to go through the ODRAF history. Then linkage between development and spread of extremism, left wing extremism, it should be in the society part, but here they have included in biodiversity and environment. But thing is that it is all asking about the development and how that has been opposed, extremism, left wing extremism. So next one is security and disaster management. Now challenges and internal security through the communication network, role and media. So here various security forces, agencies and Odisha and their mandate. Now Odisha and security, what is the initiatives क्या ले रहे हैं, and how they are developing in the field of securities, cyber security ho, cyber crime ho, and what is the measures that has been taken in Odisha, that need to be covered. Okay, so this is paper 1, paper 2, GS paper 1, GS paper 2 and GS paper 3, and paper 4 Manoj sir has already discussed about this part. Hope it is clear. So now what I wanted to tell you, what I suggest you, कि whenever you are going for OPSC syllabus, just compare the event with respect to national issue, prepare a clear sketch, add some local current affairs like Odisha current affairs, initiatives by the government, and what are the criticism. These things must be taken in your account, taken in your आंसर राइटिंग में जब करोगे तो उसी अप्रोच में करना चाहिए, ठीक है। सो होप इट इज क्लियर, एंड कोई भी डाउट है तो आप पूछ सकते हो। ओके, थैंक यू।